So this is so easy, man, I'm telling you, but you gotta know it really, 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 really well. So there is a method to the madness, so we're gonna go ahead and get the party started. Now, Eriksons stages of development. It's not enough to know the stages. You've got to understand what this is all about. So it's just not enough. Memorization ain't gonna work here because these are gonna be examples. So when we look at Eriksons stages of development, remember where we're going with all this shit, right? We are trying to help parents as well as nurses understand that the person you are right now in the seat you're sitting in, the person you are right now, and Darnita and Felicia need to come over here, and I don't know why they're playing with me. So do it now, please, right away. So the person that you are right here in these seats right now was created your first 5 years on the earth. Whatever your experiences were, your first 5 years, and this is on the front page of Growth and Development is where I would write it. The person that you are right now in your seat was created during your first 5 years on this earth. Here's what that really means. If you were like that little girl with those burned legs on that bulletin board who was raped and doesn't remember anything about it, but she was raped at 18 months, it will come out at 23. This is why sometimes you hear, why is it I adopt a baby and we gave them the best life and they turned out to be whatever? Because the first 5 years of their life, much of it they may not remember, was created by their experiences. Those first 5 years were created by, that's what created the person they are. There's nothing we can do about that. So note to self and note to patient. Their first 5 years must be amazing. Their first 5 years must be all your energy and effort put in those 5 years. That's why it's so hard for nurses, because what are we doing? We're working. That doesn't compute, right? We feel guilty as it is. We don't have the time to spend. They're going over whoever's house, whatever, daycare. It's American reality, but it doesn't have to be. What can happen is that you plan your children so that you spend most of your time at home with your first 5 years of their life, and that you make sure, if it's not you, that maybe your husband plans his career so that he's at home with these precious babies the first 5 years of their life, that you work part-time, that you cut back. I was impressed with my OBGYN population. They truly planned their children and they did not work those first couple years because they knew it was this simple, that the person you are today was created your first 5 years on this earth. Time for which you don't even remember, but it impacts everything you do. We've got to put more emphasis in these children. Plan them, plan your sick time, and you'll at least get the first 2 years with them. The part they don't remember. And so by 3, 4, and 5, where they can talk and tell you when shit ain't right, at least you'll have that. But they can't tell you anything if they're being abused. And how many nightmares have you seen on television where there was a videotape going and they were beating these children and throwing them and snatching them and doing all kinds of cruel things while you're at work, trying to make a living for that big ass 4-bedroom colonial house with the 3-car garage that we never fucking needed in the first place. Because reality is our kids are killing themselves. Suicide is a lot higher now with your 4-bedroom colonial. It wasn't as high with the 2-bedroom bungalow that my brother and I shared a room in. Wake up. Infancy. Trust versus what?
Mistrust.
Mistrust. Here's what we're saying. We're saying from 0 to 1 year of age, this child is building trust with its caregivers, prayerfully the parents. We're actually saying something you better remember forever. You can't spoil a child the first 4 months. A lot of you don't know that. You got big mama in your ear. You got your mama in your ear. Girl, you spoiling that baby. Put them down. Bullshit. Your baby is learning how to trust that you will respond to their needs. So that the first 4 months of their life, pick them up. Don't ever let them cry more than 10 minutes. Pick them up. Here's what happens when you don't. I got a little cousin it happened to, so I can speak on it. My cousin, her mother was on drugs, so she didn't pick her up. Matter of fact, truth be told, she let her stay down. In fact, she stayed down so much her head was flat on one side. In fact, she stayed down so much that any given day that I visited at my 17-year-old self and her 15-year-old self, the mothers, I got a baby, she got a baby, I go over her house, her baby in the same exact place that I left her last time when I came over last week. In other words, the baby never moved with very little time ever off that bed with that propped bottle, with that pillow, head flat, no stimulation because you're high. High on what, Shelly? Sorry, it wasn't cocaine. It was that natural drug you guys seem so infatuated with, marijuana. It is addictive. Don't get it twisted. You can become a pothead. Many people do very well with it. Other people become addicted, and it lets them take them right up out of here into never land of no motivation and negligence with their children. And that's what she was doing. She was high every day. Her baby stayed in that bed. You know what her baby did? My baby was 4 months, her baby was 6 months. She said to me, and I'll never forget it, "Why your baby cry so much?" I looked at my child and said, "Yeah, why the hell your ass cry so much? Her baby don't cry." Why doesn't her baby cry? Because the shit never worked. If I keep crying and you don't respond, I stop crying. It didn't work. Might as well let that work out. So her baby stopped crying. You know, the baby with the bloody diaper rash because the diaper never got changed. The baby who had failure to thrive because there's no mental, physical stimulation. That baby stopped crying because it no longer trusts that you will respond. That's what you got to remember about trust versus mistrust. So where is it for you as a nurse? It's rooming in with mommy or daddy. Don't discriminate. Some dads are better than moms. Rooming in means if this baby has to be hospitalized between 0 to 1 years old, somebody gonna stay with them, mommy or daddy. Because they need you. They can't afford to be with a stranger. Okay, so they need you. It also means that this child literally has to have one main caregiver that they trust with their life so that they can cry and survival takes place. If they cry and you respond and they trust that you always will, then they'll always cry when they're in trouble, and there you are. How does that look in an adult? Mistrust, insecurity. How does it look in a 3-year-old? Clingy. How does it look in a 5-year-old? Can't do things on their own, they're too scared. So trust versus mistrust. This baby sleeps all day, thank you Jesus, right? Newborns sleep 16 or more hours. As they get older, they don't do as much sleeping, but thank you Jesus for the 16 hours of a newborn, right? So you knew that. This baby starts to have stranger anxiety somewhere around 6 months. Don't confuse it with separation anxiety. Stranger anxiety. Here's what that means, and it's rather sad footnote on society, some of this, right? So what it means is if they perceive that this person is a stranger, they're going to scream bloody murder when you give them to them. What I hear from various women, not a lot, but enough where it bothered me and I thought about it and I really strategically analyzed it, is I hear comments like, "My baby don't like men." You know why? Because 71% of children are born to single homes. That is a travesty. There should be no reason why your baby doesn't like men. They should be familiar with male voices, because the father should be in the home. Again, playing your children, playing your life. So you have this child, you're saying they don't like men, huh? Well, here's what that's gonna look like. Your brother's gonna come visit like my brother did from the military. And I could give my baby to anyone at 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, no puzzle. We turned 6 months. My brother came home to visit when she was about 7 months. I had based my handing her to my brother on the fact that she was such an easy baby. First 4 months, she'd go to anybody. This is how that went down. She looked at my brother. He said some words. Took a minute. What did the baby do? Study your ass. You don't look nothing like nothing I ever seen. Your voice is too deep. You got that shit all over your face. What the hell is going on around here? I was 17. It wasn't like she was really used to men. Sad footnote on society. But stranger anxiety is normal. But it shouldn't be biased against men, because your baby should be very familiar with a male voice. It should be their father. So when you look at this, it's normal, but it doesn't necessarily mean a bias. It should be any stranger. Who doesn't do this? Autism. When it doesn't happen, it's autism. It's healthy for your baby to be discriminating. You don't look like my mama. You better go somewhere. It's healthy. Their weight should double by 6 months, and it's triple by 1 year. You kind of care. Their weight should double from their birth weight by 6 months, triple by a year. Okay, moving on. Toddler. Autonomy versus
shame and doubt.
Shame and doubt. This is a rough age for everybody, right? We hear things like terrible two. How about terrible mommy and daddy shit? Might not be the 2-year-old, might be your crazy behind. But it's true. Toddlers are a handful. They do something called tantrums, don't they? Okay? But let's look at what's really going on in a toddler mind, because we just had one. We got him in kindergarten without killing him. But my daughter called him, she diagnosed him because she was in mental health counseling and doing her master's. She diagnosed him with oppositional, deformant, some bullshit diagnosis. I said, you mean a 2-year-old? No, mommy, he not normal. Yes, dear, he is normal. And you did the same thing, sugar. Well, then you need to keep him there, because I'm going to kill him. I understand, bring him over. Toddler. Believe it or not, they want to do things for themselves. Autonomy. They do want to go to the bathroom. They do want to feed themselves. They do want to dress themselves. They do. They're just confused as how the stuff works out. So when you put their hat on and they say, no, mommy, me do it, and they take it off and put it back on backwards. It's okay. You did a really good job. Look how well you did that. Stop taking it off and putting it on right, talking about you ain't got time for this shit. Autonomy. Because they want to be a grown-up. They want to do what daddy does. They want to do what mommy does. It's really a good idea to have a man around for your boys and girls, but definitely your boys. What do I see now with the single parent bullshit? I see little boys sitting on the potty to go pee, because you do it. Their fathers teach them how to stand up and be a man and pee. It's a big difference, but it's embarrassing when they go to school and do it. You know who told me that? My sister-in-law, who's a teacher. Make sure you tell them damn women to, my patients when I was delivering babies, to train them to stand up and pee. They get teased to tears because they come to regular school and don't know how. Single parents, you know that thing. So what we're doing is we're remembering role modeling is important here. They should watch you, which means you have no privacy in the bathroom. Sorry. You might as well leave the door open, shit. Now, here's another thing that's going on with this baby. You can't tell, but they really need to do things for themselves, and they're striving to do it, whether it's feeding themselves or whatever it is. They're trying to do it all themselves, so you don't want to really bash how they did it because they're learning to do it right. If we don't encourage this, then they get a spirit of where they feel like they can't do anything right. They feel like they literally can't do anything, so they won't even try to do anything. This is the child that doesn't want to go, that doesn't want to be, that doesn't want to do, because you keep putting it down when you do. Shame and doubt comes into play big time with potty training. This should never be negative. You should never be spanking your child for this shit. This is ridiculous. It should never be negative. It should be a big freaking party every time. It should only be positive. Because it's abuse, and I was guilty of it. I'll be the first to be transparent. I didn't know any better. I grew up in crazy. And so I thought, okay, you got to be potty trained by 20 minutes old, and then you got to sit on this potty with a ring around your ass, and then if you don't, you get your legs spanked. That's how we was raised. I'm not alone. You were raised that way too. You'll never do that shit ever. Because when the second kid came along, easy breezy cover girl. It took 2 weeks to do what it took 6 months to do with this negativity bullshit. You don't even want to start with this baby. I didn't know no better because I had assholes in my ear. What's that baby doing in diapers? That baby should be potty trained. They 20 minutes old. My baby went to the bathroom at 10 minutes old. Fuck you and your baby. Me and my baby, we got it going on over here. She's going to be a well-adjusted adult that's happy. This should be very positive. With my second child, it was a freaking party. I didn't even think about it. I had just learned it in nursing school that you ain't supposed to make this negative. I'll tell you the benefits when you make it positive. Her crazy behind, Marissa, at 13 years old, in the kitchen, Mommy, you remember when you used to put SpongeBob stickers on the refrigerator when I made a poopy? Marissa, the hell made you think of that? I don't know, man. And she goes into her giggling. Do you want your child to remember SpongeBob stickers or now go to pot? Because when I came to class and told this story about a 13-year-old that remembers being 2, Katie was 33 years old, one of the students in my class. She goes, my mommy gave me quarters. Maria in my class, oh my God, I got Starburst. Those are happy children, happy adults. When you make it negative, you make unhappy children, you make unhappy adults, because we are our first 5 years. Never spank a child for this. Never. So what? They're 3. Get over it. Nobody goes to kindergarten in a diaper. Stop it. Get another priority. This ain't it. Let it go. This is where the abuse starts for a lot of families who don't know any better. It starts here. What goes with autonomy? Negativism. You see, to be able to do things for myself, I must be able to decide for myself. So everything you ask me, my decision is no. No. Honey, do you want any applesauce? No. Totally normal to say no all day long. If you don't know any better, you see it as disrespectful. We have seen abuse on that. Who the fuck you saying no to? Are you serious? It's normal. But if you don't know it, you don't know it. Totally normal to say no. Encouraged because they're becoming autonomy. They're becoming autonomous human beings who can make decisions on their own. Now, how old are we doing all this? 1 to 3 years old. It's not that stranger anxiety disappeared. No, it might have still been there around 1. It might be kind of funky foul around a stranger. But something else is kicking in. Separation anxiety. This is really bad. And it peaks at 18 months. It peaks at 18 months. So in 18 months, I can promise you that any child you have, if you are, and you see them when they come in, if you bring them in here, they're going to be looking cross-eyed at you, and bet not step even 2 feet away from them, because they're going to get a cloudy face. Make it 4 feet, they're crying. If you go in there to go get something, they're screaming and they're serious, they're not faking. How do you know? Because when you go to the bathroom and they start screaming bloody murder, you think, what the hell? You come out, real tears. Here's what you don't know. When you walked out of the room, they thought you left forever. There is no ability to concretely think you'll be back. When they don't see you, you're gone forever. That's traumatic for any child. That's what you've got to remember. They're concrete thinkers. They know what they see. What they don't see, they don't know. You walk out, you're dead to them. That's tragic. Real tears. Real tears. Real sad. Remember that. Leave the door open. No privacy with the toddler. Kind of scary. Tantrums are their way of becoming more autonomous. You want them to do A, they've made a decision to do B. Their decision is better than your decision. They're going to prove it to you. Because they're going to scream until they can't scream anymore. And that can go on for a little while if you encourage it. So what should we do with the tantrum? If you're in the confines of your house and this fool is on this floor acting a nut, I'll show you how this should have went. Hey, Ma, how you doing? Yeah, Ma, that's it. What you cooking for dinner this Sunday, Ma? Oh, okay, you want to go grocery shopping? Because we could go together. What did I do? Ignored and walked out of the room. Don't forget I walked out the room. Leave the room, honey. You got that 4-bedroom colonial, find the room. If it's safe, walk out of the room. If you're looking at it, it's going to bug you and it's going to thrill him. Walk out of the room. Don't give it no airplay. Airplay is you yapping. Get your ass up off that floor. What the fuck? No. No, keep on. It's cool. I know you're feeling some kind of way. Bye, Felicia. And go on. Walk out. No discussion with it. No attention to it. If they're in the grocery store, sorry, we've interrupted your grocery store shopping. Go back to the car and go home. Now don't do what Big Mama and them did. Oh, you want to act a fool? Come on, we're going to the bathroom. Come on. Get up, come on. She took your ass to the bathroom and pinched the shit out of you. Don't do that. Because negative attention is still attention. Still attention. Don't do that. No airtime. 2 naps a day. They sleep all night. 2 naps a day. 12 to 14 hours. Okay, preschool. Initiative what? Oh, by the way, for the toddler as a nurse, let them make decisions. My daughter got good at this. She figured it out. You want to wear your blue hat or your red hat? Would you like an orange or an apple? Would you like to sit in that seat or this seat? Give them decisions to make. Empower them. Empower them. As a nurse, would you like a Spider-Man Band-Aid or a Superman Band-Aid? Empower them. Which arm, dear, would you like the shot in? Bryce doesn't cry with shots. He gets a lot, but he doesn't cry with shots. And he'll say, this one, empower them. Okay? Now, preschool. Initiative versus, what is it? Guilt. Very good. Now, look at these red words. They don't look very nice. Mistrust, shame, doubt, guilt. You remember this here, this shame and doubt? I don't know if you remember the doubt, but I said they doubt that they can never do anything. The shame comes in, like that potty training I told you. You know how that shame comes in. You come in the room, you know you smell a dirty diaper, but you can't find a baby attached to it. They're ashamed about a bodily function because you made it negative. They're hiding. That shouldn't be, but that's what they do. This baby, precious little 3 to 6 year old, my favorite age, and teenagers, this is really weird. This age group develops a conscience. They start to determine bad and good. So they figured out bad is really bad and good is really good. So they want to be really good, but they get confused in this development of their conscience. They think they have the power to control everything if they're just bad or good. So if divorce occurred at this time, it's their fault. If someone died at this point, it's their fault. They were bad. Daddy told me to eat my green beans, and now he's gone. He left because I didn't eat my green beans. That's what they think. They really believe that. That's why if you get divorced in Ohio, you gotta go to classes. Because you gotta know that they think they caused your divorce. So they gotta be told over and over again. You do know that mommy and daddy are still friends, which is why it's so important not to be fighting with this person you couldn't get along with. Let it go. Some of y'all so ridiculous. He ain't seeing his kids. Dumb ass. They should never be kept away from their kids, woman or male, unless they're unsafe. Because that is a recipe for disaster. You better figure out how to get along because this poor kid is blaming themselves for all of it. Someone dies, you're going to have to remember to bring it up. Now you know how grandma died, right? Yes, there was something wrong with her heart. There was a really bad problem with her heart. And you know, she had to die. God wanted to see her sooner than later. I just want you to know that you're such a sweet child and a wonderful, wonderful little boy. You do know that there's nothing you did, right? You know that you did not cause mama to be sick, right? Oh, okay, because I thought it was my fault. They'll say it. They'll blow your mind. You won't even know they're thinking that, but that's what they're thinking. Okay? Now, fear of mutilation. As a nurse, you care. What are you doing? You're remembering. You're remembering that you may have given this child a shot a month ago. Well, he still needs a Band-Aid a month later. As a parent, you're recalling that you have gone broke buying Band-Aids. You should have took stock out in it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Band-Aids. You'd be rich by now, at least at our house. In other words, when you give a baby a shot, they think their arm is going to fall off unless you put a Band-Aid on to hold it on. I know it was a month ago. Shut up and give them another Band-Aid. I know there's no bleeding anywhere. Shut up and give them another Band-Aid. How many of you are sick of the Band-Aids for non-bleeding children? Thank you. Fear of mutilation is very real. We try not to do surgery at this point because the fear is too great. It's just too great. If we have to do surgery at this point, we tell mommy and daddy that toddler and preschool surgeries that happen will cause children to regress and to expect it. They're going to go backwards in their potty training. They're going to go backwards and want to breastfeed or take a bottle or whatever. They're going to be looking for their past. They go backwards. Okay, that's important. Fear of mutilation is real. If they bump their knee, unless you put that Band-Aid on it, it's going to fall off tomorrow. Imagination. This child, that's what initiative means. Thinking of something, beginning something, initiating play, imagination. has no limit to how much they can imagine. So nightmares happen, right? They start at the 2 toddler age. They call them night terrors. They're wide awake, but not really. They're screaming, but they're still asleep. Nightmares, boogeymans, whatever you call them, they're going to be real to this child. But then so is Santa Claus. Stop telling me no damn Santa Claus. He encouraged their imagination. My husband get on my nerves. Ain't no motherfucking Santa Claus. Charles, did you just tell the kids it wasn't no Santa, the grandbabies? Well, shit, I like to keep stuff real with my money. I spend the money, goddammit, I'm Santa Claus. Stop it. How many of y'all know that man? So remember why we tell stories like Santa Claus, nut? We are getting them to imagine, and what we want them to imagine is pleasantries, beautiful. Life is hard. School is cruel. If you can keep them a little longer, the first 5 years creates a real well-adjusted adult. So encourage beautiful imaginations. Read stories with beautiful, imaginary, fun things that go on. You want them to be beautiful adults. 10 to 12 hours of sleep. Still a lot of sleep. They're still taking naps, unless they're Bryce negotiating with a kindergarten teacher. Most of them should have a nap. He did negotiate correctly, and she told him he didn't have to take a nap, but he could play with a spinner.